When you see yourself, you gotta be yourself. Hello, basketball world. I'm Joel Walkowski, the professional gambler, New York City street ball legend, coming to you from my Brooklyn living room in between jackhammering outside my apartment. Boy, those homeless folks are really going at it. But yeah, I mean, the world shook, and it not because of the jackhammering, and it shook in Brooklyn again, not because of the jackhammering, because James Harden walked in our zip code. He's a heavy man, folks. I did tweet 3 hours before the trade. You can call me the new Woj. That the only good part of him coming to Brooklyn was that we'd get to see him at pumps. So see you in Bushwick, James. Okay, so last night we went 1-3. However, there were some crazy moves across the NBA right after we got off the air. So I had some fun social videos that I was just like, I was out of the apartment in my Nets jersey, and the trade broke and everyone was stopping to talk to me about it, and I just hated it. Why do you watch basketball? Do you watch basketball to see your team win championships, to see superstars, or is basketball a beautiful thing? Is there a way a team can be built? And we talked about it when the Nuggets played the Nets earlier this week. I was really excited to see KD, Joe Harris, and Karis LeVert in a lineup together. And I really like that lineup under a Mike D'Antoni, Steve Nash kind of offense. I thought you kind of had like all the major things you need on a basketball team accounted for. You've got the go-to guy in KD. You've got the Swiss Army knife in LeVert. So much rim protection. Joe Harris is your lights-out shooter. And then, you just kind of have like on-demand scoring with Kyrie and then Dinwiddie if he's in there. But now they've given it all away for Harden. It was especially disheartening to see Jared Allen shipped away to Cleveland as a throw-in. I mean, you develop a guy for 4 years, he gets better and better and better and better and better and better, and he develops, and you have 48 minutes of rim protection. He's just a throw-in. That I didn't understand. And yeah, Harden's good, but is he in shape? Have you guys shown any ability to keep a superstar in line with Kyrie Irving? Is there maybe some weird things going on with the Houston Rockets ownership that will come out in the coming years that probably affected this trade? And are no major media outlets reporting on the fact that the Houston Rockets were involved in an international incident last year because of involving the Republic of China, and now this trade happened to the only Chinese ownership group? I don't know, just a little weird, just something to think about. But from a basketball perspective, I am disheartened with the Nets. Yeah, I think it'll probably work in the long term, but to pay a premium for okay, let's get into it. Let's get into the picks. But to pay a premium for the offensive production in this system doesn't make sense to me. So let's go tonight. We got the Thursday slate, not a lot going on. And, we are getting Tiberius Smack talking in the Slack, asking if I like the Warriors plus 5.5. And there are reasons to like that. Gary Harris is out for the Nuggets, personal reasons. Michael Porter Jr. has not really been steady in the lineup. And, you have a Warrior team that's really been clicking. Steph is playing amazing basketball. Wiseman is the rookie of the year. He's so ready to contribute. And we're seeing, Draymond's transformed his body and just barking out orders. Even Wiggins is like a likable guy. There's a lot to like here, but I am going to go the other way on this one with the Nuggets. And I do that because last week on national television, they blew a game to the Mavericks. They were in control of it, and the Mavs got hot. And given how the rotations were that night, Nug should have taken care of business. And, earlier this week, they blew a lead against the Nets. And you know what? They should have won that game too. And so in this matchup, I think you could take the Nuggets and you could take the over. It's 225. The Warriors, coming off a loss, they're 4-1 in their last 5, that over hitting. And, everyone's riding high on the Warriors right now. This seems like a logical place. If you're going to take the Warriors, take the money line because that's just a more fun night and there is value there in it. But again, I think the Nuggets, they're a very good team. They haven't gotten off to the start that, maybe people expected after last year's Western Conference, but they're going to show up against some of these teams, and I think they're due, given Jokic, who's probably the MVP right now, huh? He's going to be able to probably have his way with a 19-year-old kid who's raw, so it's going to be fun to see that veteran savvy going to work there. So there is a slam dunk on the lineup, I think. I think San Antonio, we talked about how their rotation was thin last week, but yesterday rather, and Houston is playing them. Everyone is out for Houston. We've got no Eric Gordon, no John Wall. So given that the Spurs are only 7-point favorites here, given that their rotation isn't nearly as thin and that there's got to be just a rock to the foundation, I do like San Antonio to stop the Houston sports movie. Is there a chance that the crucifix Christian Wood destroys his points over under tonight? Yes. Is there in this situation after a toxic Harden trade, this is kind of the classic dead cat bounce, similar to when a NFL team fires their head coach, you kind of it's fun to back them the next week. And that could be this Harden situation, but I do not advise it given the just pretty flimsiness of the roster tonight for Houston. Talking to the camera more. Okay. And so I was kind of crestfallen about the Brooklyn Nets, but there is a really interesting basketball team that I really loved the move for in the trade yesterday, and that's the Indiana Pacers. They shipped out Victor Oladipo. They added Karis LeVert, and tonight they're probably not going to have any of the new pieces involved. It is just Karis, but they play at Portland. They are 3-point underdogs. I like this quite a bit because the Blazers played a very high-scoring game last night against the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento. They traveled back, and I think these teams are absolutely equal in talent level. I think I haven't been able to find out some information about Malcolm Brogdon. He isn't listed as a starter in some of the previews I saw, but he's not listed on the injury report. Nonetheless, I still like this because I think Sabonis against those Portland bigs is going to do anything he wants against them offensively. And, long-term, Sammy boy, can we pull up the Indiana Pacers Eastern Conference futures? Can you do that for me? Because here's the deal. A lot of people were knocking the Pacers this morning, but I looked at their stat line, and the amount of production they're getting from Sabonis and Brogdon is not only significant, but it's very efficient. And by getting rid of Oladipo, by adding a guy who's so adaptable like Karis LeVert, you're kind of positioning your basketball team very well because they're going to up their usage. Karis will fit the gaps offensively, and then you're going to be able to add Karis LeVert with a perimeter defense. You got the Holidays, you got, the aforementioned Malcolm Brogdon. That's a perimeter defensive nightmare. And meanwhile, you got TJ Warren. I would consider using him in a 6-man role, having him as the Holidays, and he's kind of running ISO ball in the second unit. So I like that. So the Pacers to win the Eastern Conference. Let's take a look at it. Central Division, I don't think they'll gel in time, but scroll down. Oh, I don't see them first 4. I don't see them first 5. I see 16-1. I see 22-1 at BetMGM, and you can actually deposit at BetMGM with the code WALKON20. They'll match your deposit, and I think there's value here. This basketball team makes sense. They are able to defend. They are able to protect the rim, and they're able to generate shots and get to the free throw line. There's maybe 2 all-NBA team guys on like third team all NBA on this roster right now. So I really like that 22-0 flyer because the ingredients for a winning team, like it was kind of like they check all the boxes Miami did last year. They defend. There's a like 9-man rotation where everyone has an explicit role, and there's guys who can make a bucket in isolation at the end of close games. So go to BetMGM, deposit with code WALK-ON20, and I think that future for the Pacers looks like an enjoyable bet. I like it a lot. So there's not a lot of games here tonight, but I do like the Nuggets. I do like they're against the Golden State Warriors on national television at 10 o'clock. They blew some high profile games. So betting the narrative, I think they show up. I personally have Nuggets -5 tied to the over at +260. I have the San Antonio Spurs, taking the air out of the balloon that would be the Disney story of we're winning a game without mean old fat James. But the Rockets don't have the horses for that tonight. Let's watch the Rockets closely in their next outing. I think we're going to see a lot of action from myself on the DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall overs in that next outing. But for tonight, against San Antonio, Christian Wood loves to shoot. He's going to take every opportunity, and you can ride the crucifix to watch your bank balance rise again by backing his points over under. I don't even know what it is. It's probably 21.5, but I will blindly say, just forecasting basketball as I know it, Christian Wood over under. And then finally, I do like the Indiana Pacers, thin though they may be, mysterious Brogdon ailment as it is, against the Portland in a back-to-back. I don't see an answer for Sabonis on this Portland roster right now. I see a team that traveled back-to-back. So that's the NBA slate. So we do a lot of fun things on the Props Network. One of my favorite things I do is Steve Clark from Sports Illustrated, the 52-yard man. He wrote a blog every week of the NFL season. He bet every game. And every Friday we go at it and have a conversation where we pick our favorite props for the NFL weekend. Well, this afternoon at maybe evening, 6 p.m. on the Props Network, Steve and I will be going through our best prop bets for divisional weekend. We're going to maybe talk a little bit about some NFL personnel hires and how they could reflect gambling futures. But most importantly, we're going to give you our 16 favorite wagers for the NFL weekend while discussing the games in depth and with a good sense of humor. So happy hooping to you guys. Let's talk about this. I'm going to get on the air with Sam. I meant to bring it up, but we were a little late starting it. I know Monday is Martin Luther King Day. It's a special day on the NBA calendar every year. A lot of daytime starts. So let's see if we can work it out for a morning session. In the meantime, I will be back 6 p.m. with Steve Clark. Smash that subscribe on the Props Network YouTube page. And if you want to go back that Pacers over, 22-1. It's 16-1 everywhere else. We saw the Props Network tool that BetMGM had better odds, and Props Network also gives you a full deposit match with code WALK-ON20. So I think we have a great slate of gambling in our future. I can't wait to see how the NBA season will develop. I'm bullish on the Pacers. And just a quick note, a palate cleanser, something cute before we get out of here. My dad, he helped me become a good basketball fan. He lives in rural Indiana. He watches every Pacers game while holding a basketball, and he's so excited about this team. But there's a cable company dispute, and Pacers games are locked or just blocked out locally. So Indiana, the basketball haven where fundamentals matter more than any state this side of except maybe Utah, they have this amazing homegrown basketball team that would really appeal to Hoosiers, and no one can watch it. Oh, what a funny, silly world it is. Happy with the Pacers, not happy with the Pacers broadcast distribution, but I am happy with the distribution of the Props Network. We're here all the time. making sure you get the best lines. So for everyone here, I will be back soon and see you at 6 o'clock. This is Joel Walkowski walking off.